that the Greek people have stood fairly solidly together. I'd say over 60% gives you a pretty fairly dominant mandate. And what they have overwhelmingly said is, we reject all this central planning, the central banks, forced subjugation, and indentured servitude to the ruling classes, the central planners, and the central banks of the world. And you know what? I'm pretty happy about that this morning, tell you the truth. Of course, I'm the type of person that believes in being fiscally prudent, responsible, paying your debts as you go along, not taking advantage of others. But in the macro picture, the big picture, let's be honest here. It's not as if anyone in the world, Greeks, Canadians, or anyone in between, functions in a free market capitalist type of system where, holding people responsible actually happens. Normally I would be against the Greek people. I mean, your government and you idiots, your collectivists, your lords, your overlords, they took on these debts. You allowed it to happen. You prospered from it. You should have to pay for it. But you know what? Neither the IMF, the ECB, or the European Commission, none of these fucks function within that paradigm either. They're a bunch of crooks, criminals. They think you can print money anytime, anywhere, at any rate, and that the people are supposed to take it. So, yeah, it's all shit. The Greek side of it, not holding to their debt obligations, sure, you can insult them for it. I have even myself. But I also recognize that, they're just functioning inside a really fucked up system. They're trying to game a system that is meant to be gamed. And the ones that are usually the dominant players in that game have lost a round. And now they're all butt fucking hurt about it. Well, too fucking bad. Boo fucking who. Alright? Tell you the truth, it'll probably end up happening. It'll be a widespread contagion. And not just in the European Union, not just the periphery countries. It won't be just Spain, Portugal, Italy, maybe Ireland, or any of these other countries that had to, suffer under the thumb of these fucking central planners and central banks and coercive institutions. I expect Canada, the U.S., look at the fucking debt levels of all of our countries. Look at them. Not just personal debt levels. Provincial and federal debt levels. Look at them. This is just they're giving you a sneak peek of what's going to happen more or less in almost every modern Western country that assumed this central bank, central collective forced subjugation form of governance. It's going to happen. Ontario is a perfect example in Canada. Fuck, they're indebted more than the entire country of Greece. One province in Canada has more outstanding debt than an entire country of Greece. Greece, which it's not a gigantic country, but it's got 2,500 years of history, whereas Canada, what, a couple hundred? Right? So, yeah, don't feel too high and mighty, Canada. Coming soon to a country near you, or a province near you, or a locality near you. So this is a sneak peek into your future. Because of your idiotic stance and allowing central planners, control freaks and sociopaths to run society. This is what happens. It's just reality. You can, as they tried, you can kick the can down the road for a while if the people are going to allow it to happen, or if you have a large percentage of the populace that are mindlessly ignorant and have no idea what's going on, or economically illiterate. But at some point in time, the chicks got to come home to roost. That's just reality. Trying to deny reality, well, you see how that pans out. You can deny it all you want. You can close your eyes, cover your ears, do whatever you want. It still exists. So, yeah, I'm happy about what's happening to the Greek people. I know they're willing to take on whatever's. Think about it. They were already suffering. Oh, what? They're going to suffer, what, even more? Really? 6 years almost of what? Over 26, 27% adult unemployment. 50, 60% people under 35 are unemployed. How much worse are you going to make it? Yeah, what it's going to really be, and when they talk about this shit, all these fucking, especially the ones that are investment, you see this, especially the people when they're doing the interviews in Bloomberg News or the Financial Post. Yeah, people that have made the wrong bets are really pissed off and trying to say whatever they got to say. But sorry, the Greek people themselves were not the one that took on this shit. It's the central planners, you know it, all right? It's not all the Greek people. Don't get mad at the Greek people. It's not as if they're all one fucking giant collective. That's the thing with this whole fucking concept of collectivism. You can't blame everybody. Millions of people, just throw them in one category and, nah, it don't work that way. Good for you, Greece. Good for you, Greek people. Stand up to these fucks. Don't let nobody fucking put their thumb on you. But you better learn to be responsible. Well, you better start to learn to embrace, and probably this is something else that's happening in Greece. In hard times, I bet you there's a lot of Greek people that maybe had inter-family conflicts or intergenerational conflicts, but they're probably coming together to help each other out. Because when there isn't an external source to, allow people to mire themselves in their own debt and their own lives without having to deal or cooperate with their families, then yeah, it's a breakdown of that situation. But, in hard times, people find a way to come together, don't they? And the Greek people are finding their way to come together. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. Good for you. Maybe there'll be a lot of families in Greece that'll bring themselves together and help each other out and recognize we don't need central planners. We don't need forced subjugation. We don't need slave owners, rulers to dictate to us. We can take care of each other and ourselves. We don't need this bullshit. So, while some people will be, the investors in the market that, had the wrong bet, they'll be bitching, whining, complaining, moaning, and, whatever. The rest of us, we celebrate and rejoice for the Greek people today. You stood firm. You stood strong. Well, a majority of you. Some of you haven't come around to that. I'm sure you've probably got lots of, once again, it's all about perspective. You probably rely on the obligations, right? But hey, you got to accept the fact that you're part of that system too, and you're going to lose. It's why we've got to get back to holding each other to account legitimately. There can't be this mystical concept where you have central planners, control freaks, and sociopaths that have different rules. This is what happens. And I expect the Greek people will put themselves on the proper path, hopefully. It may be fast. It may be a long, windy road. I don't know how it's going to play out. Nobody truly does. But I have more hope for the Greek people than I feel despair. From this day forward, they've at least showed that they can send a message and hopefully can inspire other people, other demographics, other people that live in certain geographical landmass that, there's not a damn thing wrong with standing up for yourself against oppressors, the rulers, the central planners, the control freaks in society. Good for you, Greece. Stand strong. Be proud. Don't hold your head down in shame. Push on. March forward. You guys can handle this, guys and girls. Not a problem. It's just another day. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.